Thanks for coming in, Clint.
Yes, sir. I'm glad to be here. How you doing tonight, Casey?
I'm doing fantastic. Okay, so let's dive right into it. Sports Illustrated, Dodgers Nation. Now you have your own platform, which I've watched a couple of your shows. There's a billion Dodgers fans, and there's getting ready to be 700 trillion billion with Shohei Ohtani, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's plenty of room for all of us. So we all want great Dodgers content. We all have our different take on things, right? So another great Dodgers show, another great Dodgers platform. So take us through Sports Illustrated, Dodgers Nation, and what you're doing now.
So yeah, and I apologize, my voice is a little shot. I went out to the bar last night to celebrate. Got to celebrate Ohtani Day with the boys. But
absolutely,
super short version. Been in the podcast game for a long time. Me and a buddy just had fun, but way back in the day doing it, and eventually, I got one more light I got to throw on here. Eventually. We brought our show to Dodgers Nation and kind of grew that into something different, and doing a podcast, doing video, doing live stream turned into me running the site essentially. Then down the road comes Sports Illustrated and managing their site. So as I'm doing all of that, I'm worried more about the written content side of things. The video, the podcast side, it was always there. I did my daily or my weekly show, but I kind of had to step back and focus on the website of things. So as things sort of changed there, and now that I'm not with the company anymore, I was like, look, I want to do this more. I want to do video. I want to do talking. I really appreciate the passionate fan base that is on this damn YouTube app, because I've always argued with people. The YouTube fan base is the smartest, is one of the best fan bases for smart. I'll just keep saying it. Everybody like me. I'm telling you, you're smart if you're here watching Dodgers content on YouTube. But the truth is, they get it. It's not it's not the Facebook cesspool. This is a sharp fan base, and I'm happy we're all here creating content. Even my buddy Doug, who's still on with Dodgers Nation and crushing it and doing his daily show. There's room for everybody to have an opinion and have some fun with it, but. There's your super short version. I'm back doing what I like doing, which is being in front of a camera, trying not to make too much of an ass out of myself.
Well, we're glad to have you back on the camera and talking Dodgers baseball, and all your takes. They're fantastic. The access you have and just the experience you have as a Dodgers fan is wonderful. All right, let's jump right into it, Clint. The Shohei Ohtani signing. Talk about it, brother.
Well, we've been conditioned. It feels like Dodgers fans have been conditioned for this move for the last at least year, probably 2, maybe even 3 years. But you also have, that almost like Cinderella feeling, like it's not going to happen. Prince Charming or Prince Ohtani is not going to come find us and put the golden slipper on our foot. But it finally came together. Shohei Ohtani is an effing Dodger. You're really you're not going to be able to fully take it in until you see him taking swings, until you see him lumbering around at Camelback Ranch, which I hope. I was talking to Tim Rogers yesterday. He's like, you hope they don't overly restrict access at Camelback, because it's one of the beautiful things about spring training is how close you get to players. But to see Shohei Ohtani, that statue of a man in his own right, wearing Dodger blue and hearing the crack of the bat there, I think that's when it's really, really going to sink in. But for now, we just watch him go out and play GM and try to bring in some of these dudes that we're seeing linked. Of course, we already see Tyler Glasnow. I'm sure we'll talk more about the trade in a little bit. Mm-hmm. But the excitement of Ohtani, it's again, I blew out my voice to go celebrate Shohei Ohtani being a Dodger. As much success as his team and his fan base and his organization has had, it's a win, and it deserves to be celebrated.
Okay, I'm going to keep throwing fastballs at you, Clint.
No, I'm ready.
Yamamoto. I've said several times, I love the getting Glasnow. I love the fact that Pepiot and DeLuca, now they have the runway that they deserve to go have the Major League Baseball career that they have earned, because they've earned it with what they put in for the Dodgers. That's super exciting. They get that chance. Super exciting. The Dodgers get their number one starter with Tyler Glasnow. I love a platoon of Margot and Hayward in right field. I think that's great. I still think the Dodgers need another one-ish, two-ish type pitcher, and I think they needed an all-star type left fielder, which is why I wanted them to dump some prospects to go get a Rosarina. So what are your thoughts on Yamamoto?
I think this team needs to be all in on Yoshinobu Yamamoto, and it sounds like they are. I think the latest things Heyman dropped today, it's kind of sounds like it's between the Yankees and the Dodgers, and it might be something where it's a situation where if Yamamoto is okay playing alongside another Japanese superstar, I think they can find a way to come together on it. But Shohei's already doing his job. He's trying to push Yamamoto to join the team, and I think you can't. It's already been a successful offseason. You could have just signed Shohei and called it a day from there, but we're not looking just to win the offseason. You need to quiet those detractors and those voices that we hear in the back of our minds from the last 3 postseasons. And what has the problem been? 2 of the times it's been pitching. One of it is we'll just say bad. I guess every time it's kind of been pitching, and other problems hitting disappeared last year. But Yamamoto, it needs to happen. He needs to be a Dodger, and they need an ace. They need a legitimate ace, because you also don't know how much you're going to get out of Walker Buehler. Shohei is not pitching. Tyler Glasnow isn't exactly always a 30 kind of 30 start year kind of guy. In fact, he's never been that guy. So to get Yamamoto, you're really telling the rest of the league that, hey, I mean business. We, the Dodgers, absolutely mean business.
Are you comfortable with Chris Taylor in left, James Outman in right, and then your platoon with Margot and Hayward, or James Outman in center, and Margot and Hayward a platoon in right? Is that good enough?
No. I mean, if we're able to kind of ensure that it's maybe 2017, 2018 Chris Taylor, I think you're in a really good spot. But we haven't seen that guy in quite some time. Even 2021 Taylor, who was an all-star, would be really good. But I just don't feel exceptionally comfortable with the fall off that kind of happened. Even with Hayward, is Hayward enough? Was that year? I'll go to Cinderella again. Is the clock going to strike midnight on Hayward and that comeback year he had last year? So it's not enough. I was really, really crossing as many digits and fingers and things that I had to try to make Randy Arozarena to happen in that deal. But can it work? Sure. But the fall off after Muncy, you are a little bit concerned in that lineup.
No doubt. Would you trust a Miguel Vargas or Michael Busch in left field? Or if you move Mookie Betts to the outfield, would you trust either one of them at second base? This is an all-star team. It's hard to put a guy like that in a lineup next to Shohei Ohtani when you're trying to build an all-star team, right?
Yeah, no, that's 100% a fact there. You do wonder maybe they leaned in, or they went a little too hard in the paint on saying, Mookie Betts is going to be the starting second baseman, or mostly playing second base. You kind of back yourself into a corner. However, there are very few 40 homer second baseman or 35 homer second baseman out there. So that gives you that opportunity to find somebody in the outfield. There's a lot of good problems to have. I think, Miguel Vargas at second base was kind of a surprise at how well he adapted to the position, but obviously the bat wasn't there. And to have him in left to learn another position again and try to figure out if the bat plays. We still, as much as we've seen out of Michael Busch with the bat in AAA, it hasn't necessarily translated at the MLB level. Not that he's had an abundance of time. Right. But to have your best left field option right now either be moving Jason Hayward and Manuel Margot over to left field and putting Mookie Betts back out and right, or having it be Chris Taylor. I really hope they're not done there yet.
Because the problem you have is Muncy's not very good defensively at third base, and then you have Lux and Betts up the middle who have never played either one of those positions at a consistent level at the major league level. So here you are with this all-star team, and then your infield has a whole bunch of we'll see. It just kind of seems that would be kind of a weird position to be in to me.
Yeah, and I know, Casey, you're somebody who's watched a lot of baseball over the years. Mm-hmm. I want to know your concern level about plugging Gavin Lux right in at shortstop, expecting a kid coming off of a major knee injury and the athleticism you need at that position. Is that something this team should be concerned about going into 2024?
100%, no doubt about it. And when I was on with D-Mac, he asked me about Bobby Miller. This was before the playoffs. I said, hey, I can tell you what I think. I mean, he's very emotional. He gets pissed every time he makes a mistake, and that's only going to get amplified in the playoffs. Every time he makes a mistake in the playoffs, he's going to get even more pissed than he normally does. So, no, I mean, hey, if somebody's going to tell you they know how Bobby Miller's going to react to a playoff setting, they're lying, because nobody knows how he's going to react to that. He's liable to get that positive emotion and just kick ass and be the most unhittable human being on earth, or he's liable to get pissed and then get emotional and give up 5 runs and everybody's mad. So I say that to say I saw Gavin Lux a lot at Tulsa. I saw him a lot at Oklahoma City. I can tell you Scott Hennessy would swear on the Bible by him at shortstop. I can tell you Travis Barbary would swear on the Bible to Gavin Lux, the AAA manager, at shortstop. He was the best shortstop prospect coming out of 2019. And as Tim Rogers always said, if you would have turned over the shortstop spot to him in 2020, Dodgers fans would have been super pumped about Gavin Lux, this big prospect. The problem is they saw him at second base, and I've actually talked to Gavin about this. When you're trying to change positions at the major league level, it is harder than what people think. He lost confidence. He wasn't comfortable. It's different footwork. So Dodgers fans' ideas of his defense is a little bit underrated to what he actually is. Having said that, I've never seen him play major league shortstop. I don't know what he's going to be like coming off the ACL. So absolutely, it is 100% a concern, which is kind of what I'm talking about. If you don't shore up your outfield, you have questions in the outfield. Now you have questions at shortstop, second base with Mookie's never played her. Max Muncy's already not a very good third. So where I think it's great for the Dodgers is that they have Miggy Rowe to kind of help ease that. Hey, if you're struggling up the middle defensively, throw Miggy Rowe at second base, throw him at shortstop, put Mookie Betts back in the outfield, and let's do that for 5 or 6 games, right? And let's just kind of go on a 4-1 streak and let's calm things down. So I think if you're ever going to incorporate Gavin Lux at shortstop, the Dodgers have set it up perfectly to do that because you have Miggy Rowe to help him ease into that. Then if you have to, at the trade deadline, you just go get a defensive guy and you say forget it, right?
Yeah, I mean, hell, we can go back to looking at the 04 Red Sox when they went and made that trade to get themselves a defense for a shortstop, and it worked out for them. So you have time. I mean, this Dodgers team, this roster can run out. We know they can run out just about anybody and find a way to win 90 to 100 games, but we're talking about having the best roster possible to actually win and advance in the postseason. And that's something that's been missing the last few years. So there's definitely asking you to button up my side of it. There's a lot of concern with Lux. I got a chance to talk to Lux at Camelback just a few days before the knee injury, and we fans saw the hype that was surrounding the kid in that offseason. He spent the whole offseason at Dodger Stadium. He's working out. He got swolled up, and he was pissed at himself for hitting only 6 home runs from the year before. So he's like that's a load of BS. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to crank some bombs. But now you have this concern. You hope it doesn't limit him on base running, but you also really got to hope it doesn't limit him laterally.
Yep, no doubt about it. Okay, so right now as it speaks, if the Dodgers don't do anything else, compare this offseason to some of the off seasons you could compare in the past or remember in the past. And then if the Dodgers do go get say an all-star outfielder and Yamamoto, compare that offseason. So kind of take it in layers. And where does this offseason rank?
I mean, anytime, I think you have to say anytime you're able to sign Shohei Ohtani, it's the best offseason in history, in the history of the organization, or at least of the last 10, 15 years. No doubt the excitement that came with Mookie Betts back in 20, that was an exciting time. But I feel like I'm not wrong in saying to sign Shohei Ohtani, this is the best offseason, and knowing that they're not done, knowing that there's already also a Glasnow trade that's on the 5-yard line. It's about to be done. It sounds like this is a really, really damn good offseason, and it's not even Christmas.
Hell of a lot better than last year.
Oh yeah. With all due respect to people like Shelby Miller and Jason Hayward.
No disrespect. Hey, and Ryan Brazier was great. I know he wasn't the offseason. He was a great acquisition, but it's not Shohei Ohtani, right? Or Tyler Glasnow.
It is not. It is neither of those fellas. Not even Manuel Margot when you're talking about scrap heap Brazier at the time, who turned into something great. And he's probably going to go get himself like a Chris Martin contract somewhere. I'd love to see him back, but got to secure that bag one last time while you can.
Yeah. No offense to David Peralta either. Okay, your overall thoughts on David Roberts. I defend the guy. I think that a lot of his hands are tied, since I think that they sit around the war room. I think that they discuss starting lineups. I think they discuss matchups. I think they discuss this and that. Now, once the game starts, I think it's all up to Dave. But I think a lot of the analytics have already been taken care of by all the super brains in the Dodgers, and they have the best minds in baseball. There's no doubt about that. But what are your thoughts on Dave Roberts?
I know Dave Roberts is that's a flammable topic here on the internet in general. The fact he's able to keep a smile on his face the way he does is I applaud the man. I love Dave Roberts. He's just a great human being, for one.
Yes.
I don't know how many people would be able to manage through just the various rosters this guy has had, the turmoil this team has faced, whether it's Urias last year or Bauer a couple of years ago, or having Yasiel Puig and Matt Kemp on the same roster in 2018, and still keeping a smile on his face, still keeping the team moving along and playing really good baseball. Over the last few years, he's improved his in-game decisions, leaps and bounds. Since 19, which was probably his worst postseason as a manager. They got a lot of luck on their side in 20 to go and win that World Series, but you look at the issues that happened in 21, that's not really on him. The pitching fell apart. Maybe you could argue the Max Scherzer saving Game 5 of the NLDS. Maybe that's on him a little bit. Max, making Scherzer push him into it. But the issues of recent vintage have not been on Dave. I think he's done a great job in keeping these people, these sports divas all bought in, and also understanding when he needs to step in and when he needs to step back. I thought it was going to be really tough, like a lot harder for him without Justin Turner in that locker room, because that was his number one general. But everybody picked up the slack, so that culture was just so good there that Dave didn't really need to do too much. And that's understanding your role as a leader and as a manager, when you need to step in and when you need to step back and let them handle it. And I love Dave, and I think I've defended him for years, saying he's the right guy for the job. And if he's not, tell me who is better. Because it's not Mike Scioscia. It's not the ghost of Tommy Lasorda.
Scioscia would be too abrasive for the egos that you have.
Yeah, and it's not even like a Joe Madden right now. That's maybe a little too lax for a club like this, and the expectations that come along with being the Los Angeles Dodgers. It's Dave Roberts' team, and he's the right man for this job.
I couldn't agree more. I've said that so many different times, and it pisses people off every time I say it. It seems like that's fine with me. I will say, though, that I'm still pissed about him taking Tyler Anderson out. And, by the way, I tweeted about that before he took him out. This isn't hindsight. I said, don't take his ass out. I know analytics that say to take him out. Don't do it. Let him roll.
That's one where you really do wonder if it was. Yeah, I know he said it was his decision, but you wonder if there was something that was on a sheet of paper that said this is the game plan. Yeah. This is what we're going to do, and you understand that. I mean, that's where it gets really difficult when you're talking about arguing, for or against this team or for or against management, because how can you say this team can go out and win 100 games every year, but then whatever they're doing is suddenly just so very wrong when it turns to October. But also at the same time, something is clearly very wrong whenever they turn to October. And it's not always injuries. Maybe there is something mentality-wise, but I don't know how much of that is on Dave.
I think it's that you've been shopping at the Five and Dime store for your pitching, right? Okay. I mean, go out next year. You're gonna have Shohei Ohtani. Go get a Yamamoto. You got a Tyler Glass. I have been bitching, and I said it even before the trade deadline. You got to go get a number one starter, and there is nobody that loves these prospects more than I do. That Clint. There's nobody that believes in a Ryan Pepio and an Image. Yeah, I love these guys. I believe in these guys. I will go to bat for the. They'll tell you. I'll have their back till the cows come home. Right. I still was bitching and moaning that the Dodgers had to get a number one starter. Yeah. It turned out to be that way. And so, I think that's been the issue. They addressed that with Tyler Glass now. So you get Glass now, you get Shohei Ohtani, Even as it sits right now, is it World Series championship or is this a failure? Are we to that point?
We'll play as if they're not going to do anything else, which we know they're not going to do, or they're not done. We know that much. But at this point, they've tried to act like it's not World Series or bust, or it's a failure. But in hearing Shohei and hearing the interview yesterday at Dodger Stadium, where Ippei says the reason he signed here, the thing he liked, is that they shared the same vision about winning, and 10 years and one title isn't good enough. 10 years and one title in a short season, mind you, is a failure. If they don't make the World Series this year, it's an absolute failure. But if they're not finally getting that parade, next November, I don't see how you can't really label it a failure. You went out and signed the best player available, possibly best free agent of all time. You got a frontline type of dude. You're getting Walker Buehler back. You should be in a good spot. There should not be any excuses.
I would 100% totally agree with that. And it's kind of funny. We've been saying, I think, Clint, if you watch both of our shows, we're very fair. Hey, when there's something wrong, you got to address it. You can't just say everything's great when things aren't, right? And it's kind of vindicating how we try to be fair with, hey, here's why it happened. If there's a negative, I think you got to put the context into it, and here's what they're trying to do to fix it and all that, because the last thing that anybody wants is for things not to work. But I thought it was very vindicating that, guys like us, we have said, hey, it is a failure that the Dodgers aren't winning more world championships, and that's not a negative comment to make because that was echoed by the ownership.
Yeah, we're not saying anything wrong. We're not saying anything bad. And trust me, I've said enough over the years. I've heard enough from players, and I've gotten in trouble about some things that have been said. But like you're saying, I try not to come from a space of being an unreasonable fan. It's what you need to see on a field to win. And yeah, is this a perfect roster right now? Absolutely not. Right. Like the Margot edition, I am very not high on it. I'm trying to talk myself into it. Yeah, he hits well versus left-handed pitching, but
away from Tampa Bay.
But you'd still like to see maybe another splashy addition somewhere. If it's not left field, it's at third base. Because the entire last calendar year, I've been very, very sour on the Max Muncy experience at third base, and I love Max. He is a great dude. Many conversations I've had, either with him or around him and all that kind of stuff. It's just, you would like to see an improvement there. As they say, defense wins championships, and that's a massive concern with me over there at 3B. So I'm hoping he's really, really grinding this offseason and trying to figure it out. But there are holes, but it's still championship or bust to me.
Let's change tunes here. Clayton Kershaw, is he going to come back?
So I have not listened to the Vassay interview yet. I've seen some interesting takes from it. My gut before any of this, before the surgery, I don't think Clayton Kershaw can envision himself not being in a Dodger uniform and at the same time ending his Dodger career with that start. So I hope he doesn't sign now. I hope he gives himself some time, maybe, do that Roger Clemens style, sign in May, give yourself some time to get healthy. But Clayton Kershaw will be a Dodger by the time he's able to pitch again.
Here's what I think could happen, and see what you think about this. Okay, so you're talking about Tony Gonsolin and Dustin May. They can't be put on the 60-man or the 60-day IL until spring training, which once they do that, that clears up 2 more spots on your 40-man, right?
Yeah.
So you wait to sign Clayton Kershaw till spring training, then you go get Brandon Woodruff when you've cleared that spot. That would be sweet, wouldn't it?
Now we're thinking outside the bun here. Are you working in the front office or what? That sounds very much.
I'm just saying, Woodruff is a guy that you want to take a chance on, but you just don't have the 40-man spot for it. I think that's how you get him on the 40-man.
And we've seen this team do that in recent years. We saw the Tommy Kahnle multiple times with Danny Duffy. This team loves doing that, finding some people that are either injured or just lost their way a little bit. I'll say now, I can't see a spring training. I can't see a vision of spring training without Lucas Giolito ending up a Dodger. It screams like that it needs to happen. It's going to happen. But I don't know. I lost my train of thought there. I just wanted to squeeze in the Giolito talk there, because I think it's going to happen. And I'll sound smart. I'll be able to put this clip out there if and when it does happen. But yeah, they love the I don't know if it's a diamond in the rough sort of thing, but it is finding some lost treasure and polishing it up and turning it into a Ryan Brazier.
Or Chris Martin, or even an Evan Phillips. I think the Dodgers got Evan Phillips off of the waiver wire from, what was it, Miami? I mean, they've done
Tampa, yeah. It was
Tampa, yeah. I always get that wrong. I get it wrong. I say the Orioles every time, and there are people correct me. I'm like, I can't remember who it is anyway, so it doesn't matter. I'm going to get it wrong. So, hey, let's answer some fan questions.
Man.
Okay, first of all, are you in on Mookie Betts being the everyday second baseman?
I mean, we know he's getting older. We know he's slowing down. We know he enjoys the position. I'm in on him being the everyday second baseman if they find a way to improve in the outfield. I mean, either way, I think I'm in on it. It's fun, and if he's having fun, maybe he'll bowl a little bit less to borrow from the people, the haters online who love to bring that up. It was fun.
Well, guy can't have fun, right?
Yeah, he's a good second baseman. I think it really kept him engaged. What I want to see for Mookie Betts is him play 140 games. Save some battery for October, because he might be running out of juice. And we saw that in September, where he couldn't even get over the hump to get that 40th home run. He's a little dude, give him more days off. I think he's earned it. You'll be fine. You don't need to win 110 games.
I think that the box is smaller to move around in at second base too. You have a big old. I mean, there's a bunch of that territory out there in the outfield, and you're diving and you're chain. I think second base gives him the smaller box. I think that makes it easier for him to run around there too. Okay, so is there anybody in the Dodgers organization? Here's a question here: is there anybody in the Dodgers organization, other prospect wise, other than Bobby Miller, that is untouchable right now? You think, if the right left fielder came along?
I feel like to this organization right now, and like Diego Cartayas lost that sheen. He had the big drop off. I think the only guy might be Dalton Rushing, aside from a Bobby Miller type. I think everybody is on the table in the right moves. If they were able to go out and get Willie Adames and Corbin Burns, also, I think they would send some dudes in the right situation for sure.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get into some more of these. Austin Brubaker says trading for a second baseman is definitely an option. Yeah, okay. Roberts is the best regular season manager ever. He's not very good in high-pressure decision now situations. Would you agree with that?
I think he's improved a whole lot. We still have, the first impression is your best impression or whatever. We still have 18 in the back of our minds and Rich Hill. We still have 19 and Clayton Kershaw going and pitching in relief for some ungodly reason in NLDS. Dave's he's improved a lot over the years. Just to give him some love.
No doubt about that. Okay, let's go on to some more here. Okay, let's get into a couple more questions, Clint. I know I've had you on for quite a bit of time here, and I know your time is very, very, very valuable. Okay, so no more five and dime shopping for pitching. Is that annoying to you?
Please, I mean, it's interesting to see the diamonds in the rough, and I've used that terminology a few times. It's interesting to see them find some dudes off the scrap heap to build a team and to build a roster and to fix broken parts, like fix the bullpen like they had to last year with a few of those moves. That's where you start to get a little bit more ticked off at. Come on, you guys allegedly print money, and this is what you're doing to fix the bullpen. Meanwhile, Kyle Hurt is just sitting down there throwing gas, and you're being too soft to bring him up and give him an opportunity. Yeah. So if they are just adding to the roster, I love it. But if you're fixing it, no, that's a no for me.
I am going the last question here for Clint, and then we're going to get off here. It is 9:28. We go till 9:30 every Sunday night, and then every Wednesday night, and it's 9:30 my time. It's 7:30 Pacific. And then every Friday night. Clint, thank you so much for joining. This has been, I've watched you so many times, never had a chance actually to talk to you. This is such a pleasure for me. I am going to throw an absolute gigantic fastball at you. This is one that you'll probably laugh at and giggle whenever you hear it. Okay, you got it ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, is there any situation on earth ever that the Dodgers would DFA Austin Barnes? I told you exactly how you'd respond. I nailed that, by the way.
Barnesy, I mean, I can't envision a world without Austin Barnes on this roster. He's going to be the backup catcher until he's like 75, man. This is Barnes' team, and he's going to go out there and just be his angry little self and own that 26 spot on the roster from here to eternity.
No doubt about that. And hopefully either him or Justin Turner is the next Dodgers manager whenever Dave does move on, right?
Oh, I got my money on JT all the way.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Love Bob Guerin. I love Danny Lehman, but JT in that dugout would be fun.